Teri, this is feedback for the interim submission of your hotel project. The assessment criteria are, in this instance, identification of a concept, explanatory annotation, a fully resolved plan, a visual explanation of your design proposal at this stage, and an indication of materials, finishes and products. Your fully annotated presentation sheets give a good indication of the design direction that you're wanting to take with this project. The information regarding the client and the background to the tale are useful in helping understand some of the choices and selections that you made. I think at one point we did talk about wife and girlfriend. I don't know if I see that mentioned. Maybe you've sort of changed tack on that sort of slightly, but the idea of your golfing aspects informing it has meant you've got some interesting sort of little detailing aspects that you've illustrated through your SketchUp visuals and your selection of materials and finishes that you're shown on the presentation sheets. I think what you have to do now is translate those effectively into a planning solution. I'm looking at your plans now, and the one problem I have is that there is no annotation to identify spaces within the plan, so I'm having to take a guess at some of these things. I'm wondering if that's been an issue of you having to get them reprinted, and maybe that layer's been left off. But anyway, we'll take a wee look at what you've got here. I'm coming in and looking at again, I'm assuming the ground floor. I know it's the ground floor. Your little sketch perspective of the reception area, kind of coffee lounge, is effective in sort of illustrating the detail for that sort of space. I'm not sure in the actual planning solution if that's the best place for this little sort of lounge, or should it again be rethought of over the whole area, because again I'm quite taken with the perspective view that you've created. As the sort of furniture layout, again, maybe it needs a bit more detail, maybe a bit more consideration to even floor finishes and sort of how you're allocating the space, and whether you can use different finishes to sort of not compartmentalise, but put them into sort of areas. Whether there's a need for toilets in that area, I don't think you maybe need as much if you were going to put them in at all, but again, you've got this large area on the right hand side that might be more effective as your lounge bar sort of area. I think what I'm saying is that's maybe something to have a look at with regards to how people might use this sort of space. Looking at the first floor plan, again I think you know what all of these things are, and again annotation would help me understand, but I have put a few arrows and question marks across the page that you can maybe have a look at. I think you need to look at where you're putting the room spaces, again especially with them being against the south facing window walls. I think we should also look at, I'm assuming in the restaurant area where you have your hanging curtains or semicircular beaded areas, that you look at where you're positioning them and how you're using them to divide up the space. I think look at the circulation, look at how, or imagine how somebody might walk through the space. I think the other thing to consider might be is even the type of furniture that you're using. To me, those are almost calling out for fixed seating and tables and loose chairs in that sort of area. Again, so you're bringing the changes in your furniture layout. Now let me see. Left-hand area where you've got lots of tables for two, they're fairly sort of squashed in. Again, I think if you need to look at the sort of furniture layout, so you have something not necessarily regimented, but something that's sort of is potentially more sort of workable. I'm also looking at the beaded curtain semicircle that you've got hanging at the window. Is that the best place to have that? I think you may need to introduce some doors and passageways with regards to fire routes and fire safety and containment of fire within some of these sort of spaces. I think if we could have a chat at the drawing board, that would be useful, because I think with the lack of annotation on this, I'm having guesses at what's sort of happening in some of these spaces, and I think a wee discussion about what you've anticipated would be useful. Okay, thank you.